This interview is a part of the Oklahoma Historical Society's Oral History Program Living Legends collection. There is no original date given for this interview. Also, the location is unclear. The records say only Grant County, and the interviewer is unidentified on this tape. The interviewee is Mr. J. W. Strider. That's capital Strider. This material is being re-recorded on July the 10th, 1986 for inclusion in the permanent collections of the Oral History Program by Judith Michener. A very large portion of this interview contains a hum and muffled sound, and these problems cannot be cleared up in the re-recording process.
The pioneer speaks. Coleridge once said, if men can learn from history, what lessons it might teach us. As you can see, if we would all save archives material, what a big help it would be to us. What are archives material? These are made up of old pictures, records, files, reports, and scripts. These things may take many forms, such as correspondences, diaries, journals, ledgers, scrapbooks, membership lists, minute books, and catalogs. They may be types of scripts as well as manuscripts, film and sound recordings, and even printed items such as handbills, posters, and old opera and circus bills. Bacon once said that of monuments, names, words, proverbs, traditions, private records and evidences, fragments of stories, passages of books, and the like, we do save and recover somewhat from the deluge of time. And now, J.W. Strider, our first pioneer, speaks.
To begin with, I was born June 22, 1872. 85 years past. I've been hunting ever since I was a little boy. I had all kinds of guns, good guns and bad guns. And I always was a fiend to shoot ducks or small game. That's all I ever got to shoot. And when I come here at these plains, I never knew there was such plains here. And it was not until 1907 that I made it a business shooting ducks. And that 1907, 1908, and 1909, until the last of March, I shot for the market. I was violating no law. Still, all I could make $1,000 a year out there shooting ducks. I fixed for it. Decoys, stake out 8 and turn the others loose. I had my galvanized tank. It was 6 foot long, 30 inches wide, 12 inches deep. And buried that in the sand, and hide with sagebrush, so it covered the sand. They couldn't see it. You wore everything, like our clothes mostly, everything, all they could see was your face. You covered with gunny sacks and decoys. And the last year was the biggest year I shot. The biggest day shoot was 127 ducks and 3 geese. But the biggest half a day was in October, out of October, this same year, the last year, 1988, I killed 120 teal from the bank out here on the river. There was more teal coming that fall than there are in the spring. And then from there I moved back to spring. And I've killed so many that my wife used to watch. And she could tell by the shooting whether they come out of the team or not. I couldn't carry them in. And we delivered twice a week, sometimes 3 times as the weather permits. Now, let's see where you're going at. And,
who did you deliver to?
Huh?
Who did you deliver to? Who did you deliver the ducks to?
Oh, yeah, we delivered them as they were. We didn't have to clean them. And in 1903 and 4, I shot quails for the market down at Canton, in that Draco Jacks down there, that was Indian land, and there was no law against killing them, but there was a law against selling them. and our shipping was specialty. And I followed that up for 2 years. Well, we didn't get a very big pay there. We 10 cents piece over a get out there. It wasn't like that. I never got pinched, but once all the time I was there.
Who did you sell your ducks to?
I sold a poultry farm in Cherokee, and Woodrow Wilson bought them here. I brought them in a wagon load at a time, a truckload. We had a spring wagon. My wife delivered the ducks, and I never left the place. I stayed there, go out the last of September, stayed till come in. And I came in the 26th day of March, 1909, and I know I had invited in-law, and I've never been back since.
Did anybody else shoot with you?
No, I wouldn't have nobody. I killed more ducks by myself than I could with a partner. No, I had a brother out there that lived with me, but he shot a half a mile below me. He had a better goose place than I had, but he didn't shoot as good as I did. See, I got more geese than he did. What little I shot shoot at? No, I just doubled them out of him. I couldn't have nobody shooting with me. Ammunition was cheap at that time, you know.
What did you shoot with?
I shot most generally Winchester, or sometimes an automatic shotgun, and I buy my shells by thousands. Maybe I'd have 4,000 or 5,000 on time out there. And my last ammunition bill was over $400. Paid Fisk and Thorpe's here in Medford that time. That was 1908. So we sold it in 1909. We moved to town in 1910.
Could you give us the location of where your hunting area was?
My location? Well, now, it took a long time to learn this. I learned that by experience. First, an old-timer used to learn me to shoot, but we only had a half a dozen wood decoys and take a shovel along and dig a hole in the sand, lay there, always wet. And this box was a great protection of it, just as dry as your bed is. And I walk up and down this river and find out where the ducks light. They have a certain place to light, see? And then you put your blind where they occupy. You can put your decoys over there, and if they won't light here, they won't light here. You got to get where they won't light. And the reason I shot alone because I could take my own time, shot when I got ready, and I'd kill more than two of us could, any time. I never did shoot no big game. I only killed one deer, several coyotes. Got up on my nose and jumped them out of a pile somewhere. Only one deer is all I ever got to do. Never was no big game hunter.
Did you shoot the deer out here by Salt Plains?
Right in where the Salt Plains comes down across the plains and the Medicine River comes down from the north. They fork there. Well, I got right in this fork of this river. All that come down this river, I'd get, and all that come down this river, I'd get because it's close to the bank, see, or tower close, and they'd see my decoys. And that's where I had the best place in there. So one fellow moved in on me one time, and they got awful sore about it, and I gave him $25 to move out and stay out. And I made that back in less than a week's time, just about one shoot. And that was the last day I was shot there. And what about this night watch?
Well,
I want to tell you something else. I've killed more ducks than any man in Oklahoma living now. I know that. And I think my wife hauled more ducks than any other woman in her time.
would you estimate how many ducks you've killed in your time?
Yeah? Huh?
Would you estimate how many ducks you have killed in your time?
How many I've killed there?
All together. Just estimate.
Oh, I've killed them to 1,000. That's all. And my wife was nearly as good a shot. She had better shot at a target rifle, but she was a good shot with a shotgun. And sometimes she'd go with me. We'd have a bank crawl, and we'd get up there, crawl to the bank. I'd take the gun. She'd follow me. We'd get ready to get her over on her side. We'd tear into a bunch of them ducks. We'd get 15, 20 out of every bunch we got into. She'd shoot 5 shots to my 6. We use the repeater.
Did she use a 12 gauge too?
Use what?
Yeah, what gauge did she
12.
shoot? 12.
Well, everything was 12.
Double barrel?
12 gauge. She shot the Winchester. She shot my dad's gun, but I had 2 or 3 others. I liked the Winchester, or the automatic pretty well, but I got so much better with the Winchester. I never missed, very seldom I missed one if I did, just because I shot too far. And quail was a snap. I used a cylinder bore gun, number 8 shots. And I had a wonderful dog, little retriever, and I never missed a quail. That's all there was to it if he had any chance at all. If I did, just shoot too far. I just back on kill him straight. The last one.
I think he got $3 a dozen for his quail.
The last quails I shot was in California. I got up 10, I killed 10. That's all I've seen. That's all. That's 21. I haven't shot any since.
The last time you went hunting was in 1921?
1921, California. Went down to the mountains. I didn't know how to hunt without a bird dog, you know. What else you want him to have between that?
Was there very many people shooting for
No,
money out around
no,
Salt
very
Lake?
few. Very few of the farmers ever shot off all up there. They starved to death and nearly in the winter time. Here I was making over $100 a month. I brought in one, my wife brought in one load here, brought me over $100. We get $1 a piece for geese. And the island down there where the fellows came from Oklahoma City and down there to hunt, they stayed down there, which I was glad they did. And when they get ready to go, they come up and I tell them what they want, just market price. And I sell them geese for $1, that's all. They all have ducks when they go back, but I never told them they had to buy them all.
How many geese did you shoot?
Well, I wouldn't get over 30, 35 a year. I wasn't much on geese, and it didn't come there very much. Now, but then up till the spring, in the December, in January, the first is not very good. Then when it begins to moderate, then they begin to go north, and they come there by the thousand, and you're just putting your hide in the sun. And that's the way you kill so many, you know. And they stay till the warm gets warm. We shoot till they can't sell them anymore. They go down to $1.50 a dozen.
How many geese the most geese that you got at one time?
3.
3.
And that's all there was in the bunch. No, 6. I killed 6 at one shot. And they was them white brants, and they moved in, you know, and they swung down the bar. They got just right where I could see them. And I kept lining up. I wanted to kill what I could, and they kept lining up, and they had their heads up right, just like that, see? And I was shooting a trap load of 7.5 shots, and I just shot one shot and killed all 6 of them.
They were just lined up, you just hit them right
Yeah,
down across the
just right distance. And I got 24 teal out of one bunch of 3 shots. 20, and then I got 2 doubles. Right there.
Did you have a bird dog for a retriever?
No, I couldn't bother the dog out there.
You
No,
did your own retriever?
wear hip boots. Have 2 pairs, alternate, to get wet while you have them way to dry out. I lived back a mile from the plains. I had a 3-room house there. And my brother-in-law stayed with me, hunted with me. And we had 3 horses. And but he had his game, all separate from me. We supported together. I never had one man impose on me, even old timer from at Anthony. And I thought he would at least he'd come out there, slept with the house, several Homer. And we boarded him for 2 weeks, and he went over and never even said thank you. I got him, took half of my game. No, I didn't like that.
No, I don't blame you.
No, well, no use. I wouldn't divide with nobody. Now, Dr. Hardy was the best fellow I ever had come out there. And Doc would always come fixed. He'd bring a small drum of beer and 300-pound cakes of ice. Well, he wanted to keep it from home, see? And we never kept that closet. When he got ready, I just opened the pile and told him to take what he wanted. But he knew how many tumblers he wanted. And that's all he'd take. He allowed me to have 3 bottles of beer a day. The rest of them won.
Where was your house? How far from Medford did you
Back from Medford?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm 30 miles up there.
30 miles west?
Yeah, he went to, you know where Walden Grove is there?
No, afraid not.
I was on the east side of the plains. I expect it's underwater. I haven't been there since I come back. I don't know. And the boys there used to hunt stuff. I'd buy their quail to eat. And they never bothered me as long as they didn't shoot quail, you know. I shoot duck all I wanted to. And I'd buy the quail from the boys. They never killed no money. Give them 10 cents a piece for it, or sell them ammunition one. one time I had a break-in out there. They stole 2 cases of shell, but I got them all back. I found it out. Now, where else are you?
Where were you born at?
Illinois,
Uh,
72,
what year did you come to Oklahoma?
1893. That's the opening. That's the opening.
Could you tell us what happened at the opening when you came down?
When I come in here, I come in with the rest of the bunch from Caldwell up here, west of Caldwell there. I landed out here on 36. That happened to be a school land. The other boys went on. And I went down to Jefferson Net, and the old Senator boy then. And next day we went back to Kansas. Dad afterwards bought a lease on my land and kept it till we come to town. And next year I come down, I farmed here and he farmed there. And I never did leave the country anymore. So I've been here ever since.
Did anything interesting happen during the run?
Huh?
Any shooting or anything?
No, there's always lots of hunting here, you know. We never. Now you take a quail hunting there. There's lots of quail. We didn't have to particularly. Some people will know you. You just ask their permit and it's all right. Now there's an old man out here, Rube Liggett, on Pond Creek, about 7 miles up there. That's where they used to get a quail when they was home and out hunting, you know, quail to eat. And the old man was quite religious. But he liked his whiskey. And we'd go out Sunday morning. I'd go out, take my team, go out and get Dad, and we'd go out there and get out there about 11 o'clock. Put the horses in the barn and fed, you know, and the old man followed us, so we got enough quail. He wanted a rabbit. Well, we'd get him out. And he'd go back to the house, and I said, well, come out and call you, come to dinner. You know, he'd go to dinner when he called. And he always had his nose about half wet. That's whiskey. And he wouldn't take no quail, you know. We'd get all the quail we wanted, shoot all the ones, quit and come home. Now, that's the way we used to have it here. We didn't have to have no license. You ain't got no privilege to hunt a bit now. Not a bit in the world. You got to, they plug your gun, you can't shoot with 3 shots. Well, if I get in the buds to ducks, and only allowed so many, if I can get 5 shots, I'll get all I want out of this one bunch.
Yeah.
And I had farmers out there with me one day, and he was sitting out there. I told him, let me alone. I was going to shoot these myself. I will get them all about. There's 18 come-ins in the spring. And I got 2 shots in my say of the rain, as the rain. And there's 12. There was 18, and I got 12 of them. That's out of one bunch. And I have seen them when 6 or 8 come in, seen all of them. Or you take it 4. They don't pay them the light. They just stay.
Was there any shooting?
Huh?
During the run? Was there anybody trying to get anybody to?
No, nobody bothered me.
Yeah.
And I learned trap shooting. I wanted to be a professional and work for the DuPont people. And I shot that. I wasted lots of money on that to learn. Well, I got up to be worth 98 and 99%. That's what it took to make a good shooter. And my last year's shooting, Blue Rocks, was 98% for the year. And then the war broke out in December, you know, and that broke up everything. Ammunition, you know, 7 cents a shell. And the DuPont could sell more powder than they could, and dynamite. They could sell more than they could make. They don't have nobody anymore to represent them. I made a failure on that, though. And young Mammon out here has got my gun, the one I done so much shooting with.
Who?
Young Mammon.
Ma'am?
Mammon, Oh, I just sold them away. I sold them cheap, $25, and they cost $37. Look at them now. I can't buy it back for $100, but I don't want it because I can't walk.
Did you ever do much fishing?
Huh?
Did you do any fishing?
No, I'm no fisherman. Starved to death. Where else you want the night watch?
Well, I was wondering, was there ever any trouble caused during the run?
Trouble here
Uh-huh.
with anybody?
During the run?
No, I didn't have no trouble.
Uh-huh.
I've been the law half of my life here in town. 11 years is the longest ride. 1937 in the spring of 37, and went out in 48. Spring of 48, 11 years. I got too old to walk, too old to take care of it. Been several times. I was the first night watch they ever had.
What year was that?
Huh?
What year were you the first night watch?
21, in the fall, 21. Andy Brown put in, at that time, the merchants paid me. But now the city pays part of it, and then they have to collect for it. They get $200, now I work for 100. That's the difference to pay.
Did anything very exciting happen?
Huh?
Could you tell us some exciting stories that happened during the time?
Stories?
Some
Stories.
stories that happened while you were watching.
In the early days?
Yeah.
Oh, about the saloons, yeah, we had saloons here till 1907. Then when it went dry, I was 10 boy here 6 years. And I went from that to night watch a while. Marshal, city marshal. So I was off and on. That city job sometimes depends how much money they had. I had it one time there for 8 years. I had a vending machine, and I was on the street every afternoon and every night. Well, the city gave me a job as marshal, but they only paid $50 just because I was there. I didn't do nothing else unless I had to arrest somebody, something like that. That made me a nice payday, taking care of them. And that lasted for quite a while.
You had a vending machine?
Oh, yeah. Peanut and popcorn. You don't remember that, do you? That 19, I put on 1910 in April, 1910.
Make a lot of money off of it?
I sure did. I'd go up to these ball games, I'd get $30, $35 every afternoon. It's one. No, it's number two. It is attractive itself, It was awful good. I mean, peanuts was over $6 a hundred, and now they're 35 and 4 cents a pound. Then buy butter for 10 cents.
Did you ever get shot at up here while you were night watchman?
No, never did. I was mighty lucky about that. Been in some quite tight places, but
Well, could you tell us about some of those tight places? Could you tell us about some of them?
no, the worst places we had was in saloon days. So much fighting Saturday night, I had to be careful, and so many carried guns. But I never got shot at. We never let a shot go off.
What did they fight about?
Huh?
What did they fight about?
Oh, just
mostly?
drunk. That's the reason I quit. I quit telling bar. Good. They just drunks just worried to death.
Was there a bank robbery or anything while you were night watch?
Huh?
Was there a bank robbery or a store broken into while you were night
Oh,
watch?
yeah, I had several break-ins. I watched them doors, Lots of times they forget to lock them. Now, the little store right there where Jones's barbershop is, that was broke in one night. But it was all right at 12, at 2 o'clock, it was broke in. Well, I didn't go in myself. I called Warren. And we went in. I won't go walk in. If they're in there, they'll shoot you, see? And he got $200 and a half, that's all he got. And they found the Grant County Bank unlocked. That's the only bank. The other bank never was unlocked. And Chisholm, if that's before your time, had a furnishing goods store here on the south side. He lost 4 suits of clothes one night, but that was before I went on. You see, I had just resigned 3 months before Steve Mann got killed. Now, Steve didn't need that because he was inexperienced, you see, just a good fellow. And he didn't have his gun when he went there. Well, when he went to pull a gun, of course, he got shot. He had a good place there. I've often said, I know that store got a lot of Brown and Tom Rolfe and Brown had that place. And McClellan store up there, they was robbed while I was on, but they offered to pay me more if I could take care of it, but I couldn't do it because I'd do it anyway. Now, there was 2 boys here that was telling about them. There was Marlon, he lost 4 tires. Some of the boys got, one night they went in there, they disconnected the range gas heater and took 7 or 8 TV, or these, what do you call them? And talk over that. What's this down out there?
Telephone?
No, not telephone, the other thing.
Victor.
What?
Victrola?
Yeah. And they got about a dozen of them. Well, they got away with that. So it happened again pretty soon. And I went up. I didn't find it because it was back there, see. And Bill Dorset went over to get his outfit to take them imprints, you know. And McLaughlin paid for it. Paid about for his tires. And it was Eugene was one of the boys, and his brother-in-law lives over here now. One of them had on big flat shoe heel, and the other had cowboy heels. And I was just playing, putting your finger down there, and knew who it was. And no, I never had no trouble with boys here in town. I was speeding a little bit once in a while, that's the worst trouble. But they treated me pretty nice for an old man. No, that'll come off as I've said it, but I don't think anybody gets killed more ducks.
Just what do you think of modern times? What do you think of the world now? Do you think it's better or worse than it was?
No, I think it's worse. I think it's really worse. Now, just look over here. You go down these. They keep you broke here buying cars. Yeah, I know, though. If I'd have had a car in them days, I'd have done a whole lot more business. I had 10 wagons like anybody else. A real camp outfit, too.
How long did it take you to come from Salt Plains to town?
Oh. In the morning, about daylight.
Could you tell us anything of interest that we might be interested in? Take me out when they out here at the forest farms. Get ducks there pretty every day. Got 2 ponds and some quails. They let me shoot the quails so I could talk real nice on the ground. But that ain't no sport for that. They shoot them in a bunch, you know. And I can't walk, and if I go, that's the way I have to do it. And I ain't one of the best dogs there was. That's all I can. You put me doing everything with talk. I never lost a quail.
Tell about old Bob, gathering up some quails, didn't you?
What do you run here?
Football, basketball.
Oh, that was only 14, no.
Did you say that he forgot to tell about something?
I said, he forgot about Bob, the old dog, and gathering up his quails. And John, you've got some of them pictures of your quails shoots, haven't you? Haven't you got some of your pictures of your ducks? You've got pictures of your ducks and things to show us, and your dogs.
I've got a few.
That's your tent and team.
And here's ducks in the barns, and here's the decoys.
Live decoys?
Those live decoys, all live decoys. Here's the same tent in the same place. More decoys.
When you were night watch.
You don't remember me, maybe, do you?
Yeah, I remember you when you were night watch a little bit.
There's 2 pictures of it, see? my wife always, take it right out here. Now this was taken between the Grant County and First National Bank. That's a wolf hunt that day, and that day noon, that's what they killed. At forenoon.
A wolf hunt, huh?
All wolves, yeah, not none left.
I don't believe there's any wolves left around here.
Yeah. Now I am in by myself at the plains. That's my camp, and that's the old dog there, sitting there. Now this spring in particular, come a storm, northern. All the tents blowed down the mud, and some of the boys come in me and see the dogs out of hooped up to the cold there.
Yeah.
I took precautions. I had 10 or 12 tents. Still curtain. It wouldn't leak. I didn't if it rained, I didn't have to get up by God in the dry spot. There's the same tent. We had one place to camp. That's when we didn't go out and stay. Didn't live there, you know. And this old man in the cabin is passed in. And I had a heating stove, a cook stove. We'd had any coal left. We'd bury it, and it'd be good for the next year. That's the same team. That's the team again. Here's the same tent. We had one place to camp. That's when we didn't go out and stay. Didn't live there, you know. And this old man in the cabin is passed in. And I had a heating stove, a cook stove. We'd had any coal left. We'd bury it, and it'd be good for the next year. That's the same team. That's the team again. That's Dad and Mother out on the farm, and that's my dog. He stayed with them when he was in town. And that's Daddy come out to spend a day or two, and that's him. I've got a lot more, but God only knows where they are. I don't know.
You didn't find a lot of your game that you killed, did you? Did you see it?
Who's going to listen to that, Joe? We had 5 fellows that in the 50-bird race, if you missed one, Joe, you was tied. If you missed 2, you was beat. That's how good it was. It was pretty good, wasn't it, huh?
That was a gun club?
Yeah, huh?
A gun club?
Now, I won the county race here. I got a silver cup back here, and I went out here, and an awful stormy day. And I'd shot out, and I'd missed 4 out of 50. I left me 4 at 50. Suppose I was down, I was back in 10 cents back. Pretty soon the representative in says, John, you've been up there. Dave Bunch, Les Brown, Harry Chisholm. Both of them had 30 down, 20 to go. By gosh, missed that. I beat them out of that. I beat the professionals here shooting doubles. I wasn't going to shoot, and this Newport representative said, yes, you are. He said, I'll get the shells. Well, I was shooting one of the new Winchester guns, one behind us, and it's the one I sold out here this fellow, I got it. So when I started in, and the first bird I missed 37. I missed my 37 bird, and I broke 47 out of 50, beating the professionals and all. First time and only time I ever shot them.
Is that the only trophy you ever won?
It's a nicer sport than shooting. But you can't afford the shells, good Lord. $3 a box.
Got the trophy.
I used to buy them for 65, buy the best for 75 a box. No, Mr. Tom might want to see some of the pictures there.
Yeah, keep them handy.
If you can find any more with the game, I'd like to see some of those myself.
Well, I just time where I want. I know where I can find them.
Anything else?
Had me time to stub this up, I might have made a little better get up out of those, see? Well, she arranged it to suit herself.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, try the Lord. But Lord only knows where it is. I couldn't find it now.
When was that?
Huh?
When was that? That
Soon after I quit the plane, soon after I quit shooting. No, I'm not my life is a law on this game proposition. If I can shoot them well, don't shoot them at all. I'd like to go out now. I could go down there on the river if I like to shoot over the decoys, you know. But the moment you have it, you only have it, your Winchester plugs, you can't shoot for 3 times. So if I only got one bunch in with a dozen ducks, I'd get all I wanted. I was just for a price, so if I get 4 or 5 shots, I'm pretty fast when they come to get like that. That little bunch of teal there I got at 24 out of, I killed 20 on the water, and 2 doubles when they got up. I made 24. I only shot 3 times, see? I made me $6. That's quick. The way I know it was awful wild. It was pretty early in the morning. The wind set up. And down. Finally, just below my decoy, and kind of lined up. The water drifted all back when they got in line. I didn't even have my gun in my face. It was laying out across the line like that, where I could see down the barrel. When they lined up, I shot. 1 shot. And I raised up and I shot 2 more shots, and 4 birds fell. That was 3 shots, 2 ducked it over. I picked up 24 teal. I thought about eating. Now a duck's not so hot as it might be. A duck hen's better than a drake, and a little blue-winged teal's got a moleskin for quail, for eating. But quail's got the best there is.
quail, you like quail the best?
Quail is real meat. Little dry, because you don't cook them too dry. Oh, gosh, no, that's neat. Yeah, I was paralyzed in spring of 33, and I've been that way all this year, you know. Well, I lay them pictures down for them as long as we find one place to go. I bet you put it right out there, Gordon. I think put it right out.
Should. What time did you think hunting was the best? When it was
Hunting out there in the fall.
in the fall?
Latter part of October and November.
Did you like hunting best when it was snowy and drizzly, or just clear days?
Generally, when they start north, it's good shooting, but they've been shot at all winter, you know. Now, when they come south in the fall, they're tame. They just dab right in, you know, right down, and they've never been shot at before. That's where you get so many of them. And, but you take the others, the local ducks will stay down there, and now they get pretty shy. You get pretty darn hard picking on them. Some stay all winter. But the most of them, I catch them all season. Now, you take them in the spring when they go north. They go north, they get away up somewhere, and they come on them storm, windstorm, blizzards, you know, and they'll all come back south. Well, I'll give you another chance. They'll stay for about 3 days. Well, I had some people who used to come down from Anthony, and they bothered me a whole lot. They'd tell me to phone. Well, I shoot one day before I telephone, and then I take another day before I and they come down the 3rd day, it's all gone. I was bothered.
What weather?
Huh?
What kind of weather do you think is best for hunting?
Which?
The weather, duck.
Oh, they like dry weather. They like dry weather. They like to sit in the sun. Ducks don't like cloudy weather. They don't decoy good, they don't fly good.
Is it
the sunshine? Duck likes to be in the sun.
Is it-
bait and sit on the bench?
is it best to hunt them when the sun's shiny, or
Huh?
is it best to hunt them when it's sunshiny or
Oh, yeah.
in the drizzle?
Sunshiny days, all the time with it. Now we go out there early, and I have killed some before daylight. Just see them pass in the air. Sitting out with the bullets. We got out early. Leave early. Now you can train them ducks. I only have to tie 8, turn the other 8 loose. They'll go till I have a box across the river. See? And they'll go there. They only get restless. If I stay late at night or evening, they get restless. They want to go back, and I'll have to call them back. But they never can. When I get ready to put them up, I just have them snap and they go back to themselves. I don't have to double the business, because when they get over there, the feed's already there for them, see? And cook them up. I have a good extra cook so the cows won't break in.
You left them there during the night?
Huh?
You left them there at night?
No, oh yeah, they did the whole time. And they were left to play sometimes. They went on to come on. We had,
decoys did you have altogether?
Oh, we had 100, I reckon, but I only used 16. You get too many in the way. Now, that bunch this bunch here, that bunch there, this is those old man from, now, pardon, I was way back at that. This old man, he had a couple dozen ducks there, and I had to put them out over there. I had to take care of his ducks while he's gone. Here it is. Here's the same one picture here. Same one there, see? No, I think the boys was good, and so was the city council to me. I worked on six mayors and three clerks when I was city marshal. Oh, here's the house trailer I used to have out here. You remember that? You remember the house trailer stand there? House trailer stood right here. And I'm home at that time. Now this is Fuss got this one up that certain day, see? And the meet at noon, and the meet here at noon, by golly, they come from all directions, and they come in, they got them 7 coyotes.
Coyotes or wolves?
Huh?
Coyote.
Coyotes, yeah. All coyotes.
This is the cows and the wolf.
What, man?
I see what's the difference in a cow and a wolf. I don't know.
I don't know. I just.
All wolves, don't they?
Oh, Bob, he followed me. He died of following me. Yeah, I had to. Dad gave me his, he had one as a half English pointer and half spaniel. But he wanted to give it away when he come down. I said, no, I want to keep him. Everybody borrowed more than 100 quid, you know. He didn't let him in the car, he get on radio. He could ride. And he got so dash shot over so much, when he wanted to quit, you had to go out and carry him in. You couldn't hear you call him. He was awful good, too. He died down there. And next neighbor down there, after Father died, he never come home anymore. That's 41 years ago. So we ain't got him now but a cat, and he's already ever come home. You know, you just tell Mrs. Tom. She may want some of the pictures, and I may have some more at that time.
We sure would appreciate it. I was wondering how many years you spent as a night marshal.
Oh, yeah.
How many years altogether?
Altogether?
Uh-huh.
Let me see, that's 11. And 3 another. That's 14, about 15 years. I was Frank Hamilton's deputy 7 years. You didn't get that in there, did you? Frank Hamilton's deputy 7 years. But 15, all told, I was on 15 years.
Did you enjoy it real well?
Huh?
Did you enjoy it?
I sure did. I wish I'd able to go now. I sure enjoyed it. I've got to I can. I don't sleep much of a night now. I don't lay down. I can't breathe. I sit up in my chair and sleep most of them all the time. All the time. Yes, that's good to me. I don't think anybody ever went on done more for this town than I did. I'm pretty tentative now. Combs is on the mayor at that time. He didn't think that's going to take the care I did. Watch and stay. I wouldn't go to a ball game because you couldn't watch. They see you up there and want something to come and get it. And I didn't let nobody fool around the alleys either. That's what I get you.
Football games?
Ball game. I wouldn't go to a football game because to see you up there, you know, if they want something to come down and get it while you're up there. And not you're off of duty up there. You ain't what he's paid for going to the ball game. Bill was mayor. Bill was a long time. Bill was awful good to me, though. He stuck for a while. I had to pinch a few for speeding through here.
Bill who?
Bill Hill.
Oh.
Bill was mayor a long time. And he'd back me up in town. Not in the end of the thing. Had to be done. It's easy on the boys. They team with gas now and then, something like that. Hubcaps, radiator caps. Got to watch them. They'd get it, just same.
This the high school boys?
Anybody. I caught 4 one night getting gas out of a Stewart's car, but I never said anything about it. Just don't not doing it anymore. They mind pretty well. See, to catch them again, and, give them a ticket, including this makes it 2 on you. That was your point. So that way they wanted to put it well. Marty Sprague was about the worst boy to come down there.
Didn't tell anything like that.
What all Monty do? What all did Monty
He
do?
did damn long. That's all. That's all I know of him.
He did that out of paper.
Anything you couldn't think of, wasn't worth thinking of.
You might make an enemy.
Sometimes they used to pull the wires off the spark plug. That wasn't right, because I might want to go in a hurry, Now stop. You get in, you didn't go, then you have to look see what's the matter.
Do you think the high school boys now are as bad as they were then?
No, they ain't half as bad. High school boys, there's nothing like there was 15 years ago. No, you see that, when I was on there, it was just getting over that depression, and the boys didn't have no clothes, they didn't have no underwear, it was cold, best thing in the world. And these boys that got in the army, by God, they wasn't gone a little while, they got good clothes. And lots of them had never been married if they hadn't been for that. And the boys, they come back, they're a different set of boys. Ain't none of them here, but this was what was on, do things, Let down your tires sometimes, do that. The service station man, over there, back of the South Dakota out there, that was robbed one night, but my job in the morning was between dark and sundown. I was uptown all the time, but this is much the sheriff's job as mine. Man, these fellas punctured all 4 tires on Woods' car, and it said no, they couldn't find it enough. There's never nothing done about it. Just so many times, there's never nothing done there. Well, these another hard job, but didn't allow them to shoot no firecrackers in town. Well, just take that chance anyway.
Do you think they ought to ban firecrackers in town now?
No, I don't know what they're doing now. No.
Do you think they should?
No, I don't believe they should.
You think they ought to let the kids have the fun?
It's really dangerous with fire. And you don't throw firecrackers at anybody. Don't throw them in a car, and might set you afire. It's dangerous, firecrackers are. 2 boys come over from Deer Creek one night, and they had a good time. They drove up one street and down the other, and they're shooting firecrackers both sides. I picked them up. I had to come back to give them a receipt. Cost them $7. I wrote them a receipt and took all among the both sides, because they didn't shoot them with firecrackers. They didn't shoot them with firecrackers. No, I always hated 4th of July. It was darn hard to keep from it, that's all.
Did you ever have any trouble on Halloween?
No. I was one fellow wasn't 2 miles out of town before I got him. And gave him a ticket, but I turned him over to Glenn Davis, the sheriff, and I didn't want to tell him. There was a skate rink here, and he just would run, and he wouldn't stop. And I'd cut him in ahead of him, and he'd pull on the other side. I had quite time before I got in town. But then this Carmike boy from Jefferson, he got there one night to celebration about 2 o'clock in the morning. He was speeding over town, and I gave him several chances to go, and he'd come back and do it again. Finally, I got him, and I got $10 on him. He did bought his car that day. Bought him quick, so huge car.
About what was the speed limit then that you would...
Speed limit, all right. Speed limit 40 miles, 35 and 40. You can't hold them on a 35. You're just too darn slow. Now, when Falkenberg went on there, they cut that down to 25 miles out here on West Cherokee. But you can't do that. There's nobody drives 25 miles. I can come home and by gosh, I go 30 miles coming down there. It just can't be done. I didn't pay much attention to it. I told them we couldn't do it. They didn't ask me. I had told them. I was going to let them know. And 45. glad we got us home. No supper.
Yeah.
Anything on the regular that?
Yes, anything that you recollect about the
Oh,
fire.
well, all right. When you want it.
Are you ready? He's
Ready
ready.
for it right now. I'd like to have that date, but I don't know the date.
Well, he has it in a book of his.
Yes, well, the fire started at 9 o'clock. From a south wind, a hard wind. When the company wasn't very strong, and about 12 o'clock, the city was burned flat. 2 blocks square. That's the courthouse. There was nothing left. And a block wide. That's all there was to it. All I can tell you of it. It's all gone. Nothing saved. So much enough to tell you so far.
Where were you during the fire?
I started from home. I'd just come back from town for the 9 o'clock paper off of that train, and as that train went south, it set the mill afire. And I didn't get to go back for the truck. The truck come south, and I went there. And I never got home till morning. I stayed up all night. All night.
I heard that you were sort of a hero. I heard that you were a hero.
What?
A hero.
Oh, I don't know. They called me out from under the mill. I thought I had my part under control. When I got out, it was going through them elevators up there and coming out the top, you know, fire blown way over on town. Now, it carried shingles and parts of shingles out in the country, 4 miles. The farmers had to go out there and take care of the pastures. I'm sorry I haven't got that here to show you all about it.
Can you remember any funny incidents that happened?
But nobody got hurt that night for one good thing.
Nobody got
There
hurt.
was lots of explosions from the cellars and oil and gases back there, especially there at the Kinney Drug Company. I think at that time that was the old post office. D.L. Klein and his wife run that general merchandise store. More explosions come from that than anywhere else. Those barrels out of blow the ends way high, but nobody happened to be close enough to. It was all on this side of the street. Everybody got in a safe position. After it got away from them, they give it up. See, people that had moved their stuff out in the middle of the street to save it, it just burned up there. And a songbird carried out a big stalk of bees and then there it burnt took rest. Burned there was nothing to it. And the banks locked up. And nothing saved at all. And it burnt the bandstand down. There used to be a bandstand there.
In the middle of the street?
They burnt it in the middle of the street. It burnt the east half off of that.
Was that down there by where 81 comes through now, the bandstand?
That was.
The bandstand?
That was the bandstand.
Where was it?
Right in the middle of the street.
Yeah, but...
Cherokee and Maine.
Oh, yes, Cherokee and Maine.
Right, Cherokee and Maine.
You were the question?
See, if I had that picture, I could explain all that to you and more to you. But I didn't want to keep it the rest of it since she wanted. Now then, go ahead with this hunting deal. What you want the deal? Where we leave off? How was the other?
Fine.
Now, you have to put this in pieces the way, because of the way it's wrote.
I'm going to work hard at it.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to work hard at it and make it a good story.
Now, I've killed more ducks than any man in Oklahoma. I don't give a darn who is, and that duck and that dog that's carried retrieved more quails. I wasn't a violator because there's no ducks, no law against shooting ducks.
Leon has a question. Leon has a question.
At the fire, did all the merchants seem to be ready to build back right away? Was everybody willing to build back, or did most of them
To build?
back after the fire?
Oh, yes, and they, now this company that Frank Nugent was agent for got in next morning on the 9 o'clock train from Kansas City. They had another telephone stand here from Kansas City. That all went right in. And Frank's man opened up an office and paid his men off one right after another.
That was insurance.
That's the insurance. They didn't go, there's no lawsuit. He paid. And he told Frank that he'd made him $1,000, but he paid $1,000 for him. And that made Frank a whole little business he could take care of, just because it's good insurance. There's no question about it.
Do you remember what company?
No, I don't.
Uh-huh.
I did have a Charlie Lou took over it on. As far as quail is concerned, I shot quail every fall and shot them for the market. There's no big money in them because we only got 10 cents a piece. That old black dog scared many one. He didn't know what was not food quail to him. I got good enough that I didn't miss.
You didn't miss. Well, that was good.
Yes, it was.
I wanted to ask you, in that trap shooting for DuPont, that was to advertise powder, wasn't it?
That trap shooting, I was working on that for a professional. And when I got good enough, the war broke out and I couldn't get no job. I got where I was 98% sure. I didn't miss them many.
Well, was it just a sport, or did you advertise powder?
Huh?
You tell it. You ask him.
What did they... Was it to advertise the powder, or just for the sport?
Oh, for the sport. I shoot for sport. I shot too much away. Shot more than I was able to afford.
There's something about him being on a roof during the fire. If you can get that
I
across.
say you'll have more than you can put on the page of a paper.
I heard that you were on a roof during the fire.
Where was I?
On a roof?
No, I was hose man.
Oh. Where at, and what did you do?
I was always on the hose.
Well, we want to thank you for that. We didn't have any record about the fire.
Well, I don't know as much record that was because it went so darn quick.
That was 9 o'clock in the
The
morning.
boys that were uptown brought the hose down. We light, and I got the hose, and we went through the fire was in a L there, the elevator, and it's on outside there. Well, I went through there and down through the basement here where we were over there. Well, it had already got into the elevator and going up these shafts, and then I worked back in here, and I had mine all out, put it in there, and the boys come on, I said, come on out, John, it's going out the roof now. And so I went out back this way, and they pulled the hose out the other way.
Well, I think that's everything.
This has been Mr. John W. Strider.